still watching TVC Breakfast. And I don't know if have heard about this saying that when you wake up every morning and you check your papers, your day is definitely going to be amazing. Have you heard about this saying?
I have.
I think I formulated that saying. But anyway, let's quickly go to what the papers are saying this morning, and then I'll be discussing with my lovely colleagues here. We'll start with The Nation like we always do. And here it says, EFCC, 13,000 convictions secured. We get to talk about that on the show. That's a good one to see that accountability is now happening. And then we're going to move to the Abuja Inquirer, where it says scores of security operatives killed in Benue ambush. We keep talking about insecurity in Nigeria, and we cannot just wait for it to finally stop. And then we go to the platform. We go to the Platform Times. Let me quickly get the Platform Times. Okay, so let's quickly move to the blueprint. Now, the blueprint says, do I have the blueprint here? Okay, it says FG to unleash EFCC, ICPC on contractors over slow progress. All the time we talk about contracts and how slow they can be, but now we're seeing that. I love the fact that accountability is really coming on now. We move to the Leadership newspaper, and this one says Dangote refinery is Nigeria's future, Otedola is saying. We get to speak about it on the show. We've spoken about monopoly a lot of times, but here we're hearing that, you know, it's the future for Nigeria. Now we move to the Daily Independent, where we are talking about aviation now. It says how charter airlines use temporary import permits to defraud Nigeria. That's what the Daily Independent is saying. And then we move straight to the, let's move to This Nigeria, where it says failed transactions, banks customers declare, banks customer decry delay in money reversal. That's for failed transactions. That has to do with our banks. So I'm sure you've had a lot of failed transactions. And then we move to the News Direct. Now it says, this is talking about elections. It says without integrity, Nigeria's elections will remain tainted. And that's from Aviation Minister. He's warning that without integrity, there's going to be a problem. And then we go to the Hope, where it says FG probes outbreak of strange flesh-eating disease in Adamawa. This is quite a scary one, there. And then we're going to end with Sporting Life, where it says Lookman plays again for Lada. Now Lookman is playing again. Our players have been doing a fantastic job, so we definitely just have to give it to them. But we'll start with The Nation like we always do, and I have my lady here and my gentleman, Etoma. And we're looking at the EFCC. We're starting with this. I'm just happy that accountability is happening now. It says 13,000 convictions have been secured. You know, oftentimes when we hear that EFCC has arrested somebody, sometimes we ask, what happens next? You know, at the end of the day, we just hear, oh, they're probing, and then it goes down the drain. We don't hear anything. But now we're saying the EFCC is giving us accountability that, okay, you know, the amount of people that have been arrested, they've gone for convictions, and these are the people as well.
Beautiful development as far as I'm concerned. If Nigerians start understanding that financial crimes will lead to one conviction or another, it will act as a deterrent to perpetrating those crimes. EFCC under this gentleman has been doing some some fantastic work, and I hope that other agencies will take a leaf from him. He is not only pursuing the financial crimes without fear or favor. He is also telling us that we are getting convictions. He's also giving us figures of amounts of monies that EFCC is recovering and so on. So if an agency is up and doing, and every federal government agency is as up and doing as he is, Nigeria will definitely be a better place.
And Wilfred, a lot of times we've spoken about accountability as well. Because like I said earlier on, when you hear about these people that have been convicted, you don't hear about them again. But now just saying to us that, you know, they're giving accountability. For me, I think that is key. And what would you say? Do you think the EFCC is doing a great job? I think so far, you know, they've been pulling their weight.
Absolutely. So now this is what I would say. I think at this point, I'd like to talk on the issue of communication and the use of the media in these agencies. So it's one thing to actually be doing your job and then be doing it undercover and then nobody really knows, which sometimes seems to be the situation, right? But then again, when you actually go the extra mile to actually communicate, and that's what's happening now. He's giving us facts, he's giving us figures. He's telling us, okay, fine, this is what's happening behind closed. So after we do this is what's happening next. These are the amounts, these are the sums, this is what. So when that happens, people are more comfortable. People start trusting more. They believe that, okay, you're actually working. So it's possible all the things that have been happening over the years, but nobody actually saw the need to put it out there. But now that it's out there, it's very important because, I mean, this is gaining trust of them.
Gaining trust. But we'll move quickly. We're talking about security here. It says scores of security operatives killed in Benue ambush. We're saying the header is saying that governor's aide kidnapped in Nasarawa, military hit, terrorists in Yobe Plateau as well. Etoma, sometimes I wonder, where do we get to a point that we don't hear news like this? It's like every AK market day, you wake up, you hear something has happened. Insecurity continues to take center stage. And it's not like we are not doing things against it. Is it that we are not fighting enough for insecurity, you know?
Yeah, there are times where I think about this thing and I just tell myself, look, it's a trend, it will blow off, you know, and other times I get so concerned about it. Mr. President caught his vacation, you know, to come face insecurity squarely, and this is what we're hearing. You get what I'm saying, you know? And one of the bandits or so boldly came out and said, look, if you kill 10 of us, 20 will rise. These guys are getting so emboldened. I think whatever measures we are taking as a government to fight insecurity, we should triple the effort. Triple it. You know, and face these things. There's one word I don't really like when I'm talking about security with non-kinetic approach.
You know, Winfred, let me come to you here. It's the Platform Times. And, you know, we've spoken about this a whole lot. It says, bandit kidnapping 1 security agencies, kill 10 of us, 20 will rise. You know, on this table, I said it, I do not understand peace deal with bandits. I'm sorry, but I do not think that's the way to go. Because when you do that, you give them the power to now give you demands. These are criminals and should be treated like criminals.
Exactly. So, I feel the whole idea of negotiating with bandits should literally be swept under and probably thrown out because it's not necessary. So now we're talking about kill 10 of us, 20 will rise again. That is the audacity. It is the audacity for me. And that's because they know that over the years, for one reason or the other, I mean, we listen to them. Okay, fine, what do you want? Okay, will you leave us? Okay, take 15 naira, take 2 naira, all this kind of thing. So all the back and forth is literally costly because they know that, you know what, we keep on threatening you because it seems as if you people are not sure what you want to do. So we'll keep, do you understand? So the more they take a step, they say that, okay, fine, whatever happens is not wiping them out like that. Do you understand? So I just feel that the negotiations need to stop. Just as you said, sir, we need to literally cancel out, triple our efforts and not negotiating efforts, right? I mean, we're talking about, we have armed forces. That's the fact that we have challenges here and there, but then again, in recent times as well, the armed forces have actually been doing, a pretty good job with wiping, and I feel with time, gradually, we actually get there. So we need that hard hand.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job, but I think more has to be done. And I think that dialogues with criminals is not the best. We do not need to give them, you know, that power to feel like they can tell us what to do. We'll move to the blueprint where it says FG to unleash EFCC, ICPC on contractors over slow progress. And Wilfred, I'll stay with you here. We're talking about accountability. I love the fact that we're saying that steps are now being taken because you see sometimes some contractors, you give them work, at the end of the day, they take a slower time, they do not even get to do it. We know that when it comes to contractors, sometimes they cry they've not been paid, but also them as well. Sometimes you give them work and at the end of the day, we've seen so many stories where EFCC is now, you know, moving closely with a particular contractor because he was given money and he didn't do the job.
Absolutely. So that's actually very necessary. You need to consistently check contractors because I mean they can literally come up and say fine, they actually, and the funny thing is that they actually bid for this this contracts, right? Like tirelessly, and they go at it until they get it. But most times for some people, for most of them, it's probably the money they're after. So once they get it, there's that lax, and they're just, okay, fine, we have this now, and you relax and you take your time. For me, I think what really upsets me is literally when you see one administration into a next administration still taggling and haggling with the past contractors that are meant to have submitted and finalized certain jobs. So I think it's necessary that, yes, EFCC needs to be on their necks. Check them at every single level. They need to, the same thing, accountability. What are you doing? When are you doing it? Give timelines. Let them be clear. Let us see that, fine, this is what you're doing, and then there should be deadlines that shouldn't be missed. And then if missed, there should be excuses and
accountability. I think people need to face the what for what they do. Because when you hold people accountable, then, you know, a lot of people will be scared to do things they are not supposed to do. But
there are timelines to every contract. I want to blame, put some blame on the federal government that doesn't really do the due diligence. You can't give contracts of 10 billion to a contractor that doesn't have 1 billion. So you see, one of the reasons why these contracts really slow down is that they get the contracts before they go to the bank to negotiate for the money, and it takes time.
You know, but let me come to you here, Etoma, the leadership. We've had this conversation a whole lot. We talk about the Dangote refinery. Now, Otedola is saying that, you know, Dangote refinery is the future, you know, for Nigerians. He's telling us.
First of all.
But, you know, I'll say something. You know, we've spoken about the monopoly. We've spoken about the back and forth. you know, the union and all of that.
Yes.
There were conversations we had on this table. But do you really agree with Otedola? Is it the future?
First of all, Otedola and Dangote are buddies, man.
So you're saying that you say about your friend.
Yeah, they hang out. But on a serious note, what Otedola is saying is the truth. You know, business is not static. Business is a very dynamic thing. You know, it keeps moving, it keeps changing. And when you try to stop a moving train, you know what happens.
Yeah.
It's time for a distribution of petroleum, the system of distribution of petroleum in Nigeria. It's time for it to change, leave this depot arrangement and go straight to the buyer. And you know, that way you cut the middleman and it drops the price.
Yeah.
And that's what Dangote is trying to achieve. And Nupeng is not really happy about it. So what about all our depots? That's what they're asking.
A lot of people are definitely accusing him of monopoly. Is monopoly good for us at the end of the day? That's the conversations that I think we should be having. But let me come here to you, Winfred, on the Daily Independent. And we're talking about aviation here. It says how charter airlines use temporary import permits to defraud Nigeria. So some of these charter airlines, they come and you know that after they are done, they stay actually and they start operating.
Yes. So sometimes that actually happens. But then again, you talk about, I mean, the aviation is not without a body, right? And then, of course, these permits obviously have expiration dates. And then there are officials that are actually meant to do the due diligence to make sure that, fine, once this expires, you are out. And it doesn't go. But then again, we all know that certain things happen behind closed doors.
You know, the quarrel they are having here actually is not from the aviation side, it's from the customs. Customs are saying that if you bring in an aircraft, customs is seeing that aircraft as a product.
Yes.
You know, it has a gestation time of 2 years before operating in Nigeria. But after 2 years, you have to pay the customs duties, which runs into billions of naira. And so these private airlines that come in for this thing, they have found a way, taking advantage of the lacuna between the customs law and the NCAA law. That is what they are taking advantage of.
And at the end of the day, these laws are put in place for it to be followed. Nobody is above the law. So when I see things happen like this, I'm like, what are we doing?
It's for us to harmonize those laws, where the customs and the NCAA laws will be complementary to each other and not sort of fighting each other.
Okay, Etoma, let me move to you on this one. And this is the Daily Times. It says, FG revokes 1,263 mineral license for defaulting annual fees. What is it with Nigeria and not paying? What is it with us that we do not want to pay? Because
enforcement has always been weak.
Yeah.
And even when we are talking about regular crimes, enforcement is weak. We are talking almost everything. We have a weak enforcement culture in Nigeria. We just have to improve it.
But at the end of the day, as citizens as well, are we not supposed to do the right thing? Because sometimes we're complaining, Nigeria this, Nigeria that. But you also have a role to play. The government cannot do everything. So your role as a citizen, what are you doing with it?
You see, if the government doesn't wave the big stick, human beings ordinarily will want to take advantage of every situation that they have.
Yeah.
So if government doesn't show that you try it, I'll deal with you mercilessly, you will have people trying to cut corners. And that's what's going on. Like this revocation of the licenses, that's one big stick being waved right now. So let's see what if other people will say, I'm not going to pay, after all, nothing will happen.
All right, now let me go to the News Direct. And it's saying that without integrity, Nigeria's elections will remain tainted. And that's from Aviation Minister. He's warning. You know, the other day we were speaking about the INEC, and we were saying that they're telling us that, you know, parties should not start, you know, what do they call it? They should not start campaign early. And I said, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about just give us a free and fair election. Because at the end of the day, INEC is a body that has been criticized in so many ways. Like every election, we always come out to hear, oh, this was done wrong, this was done wrong. And I'm hoping that 2027 would not be the same. And this is what, you know, Aviation Minister is saying. He's warning, actually.
Yes. Integrity is something that when it comes to elections, comes to selecting political leaders, right? Integrity at all levels is very, very important. So we can definitely not overlook it, because we need to know that, okay, fine, these are the leaders that are representing several parties. Now, at the party level as well, integrity is necessary, because in the end, people are voting based on what they see, based on what they hear. So it now depends on the people, the leaders, the parties, INEC themselves, right? Their ability to literally puts the details, puts the information. We're talking about accountability earlier. Put it out there. Let's know, okay, fine, this is what we're going for, right? These are the rules. The rules are being followed. Now, you guys make your decision. And when we make our decision, then okay, fine, this is what you've decided, and then that's what we get.
You know, we're telling people to go out to vote, but at the end of the day, we want their votes to count. A lot of people have lost hope in INEC because they're like, you speak to some people that say, I don't want to vote. At the end of the day, will the vote count?
It's not just INEC that people have lost confidence in. It's the whole electioneering system that people have lost this day. Once Nigerians believe that their vote counts, Nigerians will go out and vote, will be more serious about it, and so on. But right now, the average Nigerian, especially in the South, you know, or the southern part of the country, believes that, well, why should I go there? But when it comes to voter registration, oh boy,
they're fast
everybody wants
they
to.
use it for other things too, so they're very fast.
So they do it so seriously. But when it comes to election itself, look, it's very simple. When an election is holding in a particular state and you can predict that this is the person that will win, then that means that election is not free and fair.
That means there's a problem. And at the end of the day, I tell people, once you go and register, it's your duty, not even you, it's your duty to go out and vote. So I just hope that INEC does a better job, you know, for 2027. I'm really hoping that they get to clear all the doubts.
We need a lot of voter education, a lot of voter education.
All right, so we'll move to this Nigeria, where I told you that I think you face a lot of this. It says, failed transactions, bank customers decry delay in money reversal. See, Wilfred, a lot of my money is gone. I'm not going to mention the names of the bank, but you see that at the end of the day, they tell you that there's going to be a reversal. You even go to the bank. Sometimes you go to the bank, they'll tell you, oh, in a week or two, and you never see, you know. So it's saying that people are speaking about this, and supposedly it's supposed to be about 2 days before you get the money. But right now, it's taking weeks, sometimes years, and sometimes never.
I'm wondering why it should even take 2 days. You know, I mean, there's something that can take 30 minutes to. You are reversing monies that had been transferred to somebody, and somehow there was a glitch and the money didn't get to its destination and so on. I think it's a click away. You know, it should be something that shouldn't take up to 2 days. Unfortunately, weak implementation, weak supervision. We're still talking about the same thing.
Yes.
You know, most Nigerians now see the bank as a place you don't go to.
You know, Wilfred, the other day I was saying that maybe I'll get my colo and start taking money. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of conversations, you know, the amount of charges, you know, they're charging you for email, they're charging you for text message. Like, the amount of charges are a lot. And right about now, we're looking at the fact that, you know, there's supposed to be a reversal. Why is it not just taking 1 day? Why do we have 2 days? And Wilfred, sometimes you don't get this money. I'm a testament to, do you know the amount of money I've lost?
So at the end of the day, she was telling her story and calling my name.
So now let me blow your mind, right? So it's one thing to say you actually did the transaction that you didn't go through, but then again, the money wasn't reversed. Now let me tell you from the other angle, right? So I've had a situation where money was paid into my account. Money that wasn't for me.
Wow.
It did not belong to me.
What?
Exactly.
That has never happened to me.
I wasn't even, I had to go to the bank and say, yo, there's money in my account. It's not mine.
And that's because you're a good citizen.
Do you understand? That's even to find, like, first of all, before they even before they could trace and know that, okay, you know what, this is where the money is from, it was a problem. I had to keep on going. I said, see, it's money, oh. It's actually money. Do you understand?
How many people will do that? You are a good citizen, that's why you did that.
But that's very commendable.
Let's go to the hope quickly. And it says, FG probes outbreak of strange flesh-eating disease in Adamawa.
And when I read those headlines, I had shivers. You know, goosebumps came up. We have a very weak medical system. Let's call a spade a spade. We are trying to rejig our medical system, you know, in Nigeria, and we're having outbreaks like this. When I read flesh eating, I said, God, what is this? You know,
it's a whole lot.
I don't know what to say.
Something gets to be done with that in Adamawa. But we'll go to Sport and Life. That's our last paper. Do you like sports?
Yeah, well, yes, I do.
Okay. You know, the Ballon d'Or, again, I wish all the players the very best for the Ballon d'Or. I always watch that award because it's something that, you know, I really like. It really interests me. But now this one says, Lukman plays again for Lade. Now, Lukman, we have Lukman, one of our players that does a fantastic job. And it's just beautiful, Wilfred, to see that our players are getting that international recognition.
Absolutely. As in, I mean, with Nigerians, we know what happens sometimes when it comes to sports, right? It can literally be quite devastating and disappointing sometimes. But then again, when these players actually step out, they actually put in their all. You actually can't deny the fact that they actually play with heart, right? And they put that in. That's why the fact that sometimes the outcome is not what they actually want and all of that. But then again, absolutely, I mean, the Ballon d'Or is an award, very prestigious over the years and everything. To see Nigerians at that level, beautiful.
But my own is that they play really well outside. The conversation is when they come back home, our Super Eagles, they should play well. Because we don't see that energy when they come back home. And I've said it a lot of times on this table. I will never get tired of saying it. You know, when we're playing for Nigeria, let's also play well. All right, so coming up on TVC Breakfast, Kwankwaso set times on the table to rejoin APC. Now, how